Hi, everyone. As promised, here's Sam Rockwell and Lynn Shelton, one of the stars of Laggies and the director of Laggies.
Hi.
I just sat on a mic.
Hi.
Does everyone have a mic? Everyone has a mic?
Yeah.
Cool.
Is on testing.
Check.
Check. Well, welcome.
check.
When did
Hey.
you both get into Toronto? Today or
She's been here. I got here today.
today?
Last night.
Last night?
Yep.
So who here has already seen Laggies? I'm not sure. I saw a press screening earlier in the week.
Couple people.
Couple people. More than a couple. We have around
Couple
five or
people.
so.
Three people. Okay.
Yeah. And it's actually coming
Okay.
out shortly via A24 Pictures.
Yeah, October 24th.
Yeah.
It will be opening in the States anyway.
Awesome.
Statewide.
Oh, not in Canada.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
A24.
Well, it should come out. So why don't you, either of you, describe the plot for Laggies, and Sam, I guess, kind of describe how you factor into the film for those who haven't seen it yet.
Laggies is about a 28-year-old woman, played by Keira Knightley, who is kind of experiencing an extended adolescence, you might say. She has an advanced degree. I wouldn't exactly call her a slacker. It's not like she sort of hangs around in her parents' basement and smokes pot all day or something. She has, she's happy and she has some schooling, but she's kind of put off, figuring out exactly who she's going to be and where she wants to go in life. And she's been kind of floating along with the current. So she still has her friends that she had in high school. She has her boyfriend still that she had in high school. And so this story is kind of about this moment in her life when she has to take some agency and kind of figure out, realize, oh gosh, I don't know if this is really the life that I wanted, So it's kind of a come to Jesus moment for her. And part of that journey is that she ends up befriending a 16-year-old girl played by Chloe Moretz. And Chloe's character's dad is played by Mr. Sam Rockwell. And so she befriends both Sam's character and Chloe's character. And it's,
She more than befriends Sam's character.
well, now don't
Well,
give
not
it
to
all
give it
away,
away,
Nigel.
but sorry.
Yes, there is some
I think it's in the
beautiful
trailer.
chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Sorry, I took away your.
No, that's all.
Assignment.
Believe me, you're welcome to do that.
So if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that you've directed a film that you didn't play a hand in writing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true. And yeah, it was interesting to hear the last interview because it was something that I was open to. This was my 6th film, and I've made 5 before that that I'd written. And but I read so many scripts that were really well written and really beautiful, and all kinds of wonderful things about them. But they just I didn't feel personally drawn into them enough to direct them. And this was one of those rare exceptions. I read the script and was immediately, I felt like I could have come up with this concept, and it explores territory that I'm really interested in. And the writing, Andrea Siegel is the writer's name, and I just thought that she had such a beautiful way with the dialogue. It felt very breezy. All of the comedy, and there's a lot of it, comes from a really organic, character-based place, and then the things that happen are surprising but believable, and so for me, the characters really leapt off the page. Especially, I have to say, Craig, which Sam's character was really one of my favorites from the get-go, and the relationship that he has with Megan.
Yeah. Your previous films were all improvised, correct?
Not all of them.
Not all of them?
I'd made 3 films. My second, third, and fourth films, My Effortless Brilliance, Hump Day, and Your Sister Sister, were either the dialogue was entirely improvised or largely improvised. And then I've made a couple that were much more scripted. But even in the improvised work, I knew what was going to happen. The armature of the film was really plotted out very carefully. And there was a lot of backstory that had been created with me and the actors all working in tandem together. So it's not like we just kind of, sometimes, you hear, oh, it's an improvised film, and it sounds like you just show up and say, what are we doing today? I don't know, So I just want to make it clear. There was a lot of work, a lot of prep that went in before we stepped in front of the cameras.
Did you encourage improv on this set, or did Sam have to stick to
No,
the
she
script?
was really hard on me about that.
Really?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, cracking the whip. No, we didn't need to improvise that much. It was really just garnish on the main course, yeah, it was a really solid script.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a James Brooks script. That's kind of how I remember it being. You know.
Yeah, and you guys just the way that the way the lines were written and the fine quality of the actors at hand, it never felt written. You know, you were able to take those lines and really just make them your own. And then Sam definitely would, I think you more than anybody else probably would add a little bit of, I mean, you call it garnish and it is, but it's also a way of keeping things loose and playful and giving little surprises for the other actors to kind of bounce off of, and just really.
Well, you and I worked on the bar scene a little bit and kind of finessed that a little bit, which is good.
True.
And
It's a great bar scene between his character and
That's a fun
Kira's.
scene. We were hammered.
Yeah, yeah.
Hammered and adorable.
Adorable.
Well, that scene works so well because your chemistry with Kira is just so electric.
Thanks. We had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to manufacture that, or did you two just hit it off the bat right away?
Well, her husband was on set a lot when we had to make out. We had to do the makeout scenes. Her husband was around, but he was so nice and sweet.
Yeah.
But no, we had a made out with him, made out with her. No, we had a
Make them feel included.
yeah.
That's all.
Those are that's DVD extras. But we had a great time. And she was really lovely. We had instantly kind
Well,
of.
all of you, I felt like each person in the cast, it was those three: Chloe Moretz, Kira, but then the supporting cast as well: Mark Webber, Jeff Garland, Ellie Kemper, Caitlin Deaver. I mean, everybody was so wonderful, and each more sweet than the next. And I do feel like a lot of the chemistry that you see on screen that I've found, when chemistry on screen seems really palpable between characters, it often comes from this. It often comes more naturally and organically when an actor comes on set and is open-hearted, towards each other. And there's a warmth, there's automatically this sense of, I'm just gonna wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm gonna be vulnerable with you, my fellow actors, and then it's just sort of happens naturally. And all of you were so sweet and so open-hearted in that way that it was just like magic. I mean, it just was so easy, for all of you.
Now, starting with your sister's sisters, you've been working with more star types. Like that film had Emily Blunt, Rosemary DeWitt, and in this film you have Sam and Kira. How has your approach changed in the handling of the cast? Has it changed at all?
Well, luckily I haven't worked with anybody who's been, even if they've reached a level of fame, they haven't been tainted by that fame. They haven't been, tarnished or turned into.
How do you make sure that they're
Divas.
not? Do you
There's
try
no
to gauge
way,
it when you
Nigel.
meet them? There's
No,
way.
definitely, you try and talk to them and meet them beforehand for sure, and trust your instincts. But I mean, I've heard stories of people who had great meetings with folks, and then they showed up and wouldn't get out of their lock. They would lock themselves in their trailer and whatever. Have all kinds of nightmare experiences. So I'm just sort of waiting for that to happen to me. But I've been so blessed. No, everybody I've worked with has been so lovely so far, and yeah, there's no. I did an episode of Mad Men. It was my first TV episodic directing gig, and that was the first time I was ever starstruck by actors. And like I said, I loved that show, and so each and every person in the cast was like, "How am I going to do this? How am I going to work with these people?" And then it was very easy. And once I got through that, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can work with
So
anybody."
John Hamm was nice. He was a pro.
He was a lovely,
Okay.
lovely
I
professional.
wanted
to
some
work
horror
with.
story. I thought that could.
No, sorry.
Now, Keira Knightley, she's remarkable in this film. I think it's my favorite performance of hers. I've never seen her so loose and, yeah.
Loose-limbed.
She kept
I
calling
like
it
to get,
floppy in my interview with her. Floppy.
Floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of floppy.
She's floppy. Yeah.
But in a really lovely
Floppy
way.
sexy.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
again, so natural. I mean, I think it I don't know, is it especially because we've seen her in these like bodices, right? And just like,
Yeah.
so it really stands out, I think. Yeah.
Well, what the heck made you think of her? Because, I mean, when I first
Bend
read
It
the
Like
synopsis.
Beckham and the first Pirates movie.
Really?
Totally.
All
I was
right.
like,
had
erase.
Yeah, it's funny when you cast her. I had no doubts about it because I think because of those performances.
I remember seeing her where she was 17 when she did Pirates, the first Pirates, and she was so funny and so physically game and just and had that again that sort of loose-limbed, highly naturalistic quality. So that was why I knew she would be able to be good in this role, and she really related to her and really I think found her very quickly. And her American accent is incredible. You
Flawless.
never see her do that, very rarely. So that was great too.
Cool. Well, we're going to open up to the audience. If you have a question, please just raise your hand, and I'm going to point in your direction and wait for a mic so we can pick it up for audio. Yep, right there.
Hi, Lynn. I love your films.
Thank you.
And I'm a female director, and a writer. And I would like to know your process when you're writing. Also, and if you do rehearse with the actors, but with the writing, if you're going to do it scripted, do you still sort of run through, like come up with an idea and then sort of act it out or get people to help you act it out to get good dialogue? Like to really, I'm sure you come up with great dialogue in your head, but.
Well, first of all, like the last film I did before Laggies was a film called Touchy Feely. And I had written the script totally happy to throw it out of the window, the words, if they weren't working. And I think maybe because it was more of a little bit more of a meditative script and less sort of bantery between the characters and more introspective. And then some of the characters were very awkward and had a hard time expressing themselves. For whatever reason, the actors tended to want to just say the lines as written. And then if something didn't work, I'm just never precious about it, So whether it's in the process of a table read and, kind of reading through lines, and even like on Laggies with Sam, we would go through the scenes together and we changed a few things, like you were saying that bar scene, for instance, just to make it work. So it's a very
You let me say
ego-free
scumbags.
process. Yeah. Yes, it really does help to hear the words out loud for sure. And I do tend to rewrite because of that. Yeah. And I'm not a big rehearser. I really enjoyed the process that we had where we would sort of read through it, but not in a way that would ever like cause you to get a groove, and only be able to do it in one way, or like you're not sort of fine tuning the way of saying a line. Yeah. It's much more a conversation, More
than just when you're blocking, because some big directors, because they don't get their actors, so they'll just rehearse while they're blocking. So you do try to do table reads or get a little bit more.
No, the rehearsing is really more of a conversation. You're talking about the characters and stuff. And then in an improvised movie, I never, ever rehearse because sometimes the first is the best and you can never get. So you just basically want to be shooting the rehearsal. But even with a scripted movie like Laggies, I don't want to I want to keep it fresh, So yeah, you are kind of letting them feel, you wait till the cameras are on or you do like a marking rehearsal and then you sort of start getting into it. If that makes any sense, I don't know, but.
Hi, this question is for Sam.
Hey.
Hi. So I haven't seen this film, but I've seen you work in these sort of character-driven personal drama sort of thing, and then I've seen you in Iron Man, and I saw you on stage do Behanding in Spokane.
Oh, cool.
And I guess my question isn't so much like the difference in acting styles between these things, but is there a difference in pressure when you're working on a $300 million movie and you got to time your line with something exploding, or when you're on stage in front of a number of people and you got to work with laughs and whatever, and when you're with a director who's sitting there personally with you, changing the dialogue and really the meat of the scene is what's going on between you and another actor?
Not really. No, it's usually the same process. It's just a matter of, you could even have like a small part in a big movie or a small part in a small movie, and you might get nervous or self-conscious for a very random reason. It could be you have the wrong fork in the dinner scene or something. Something will throw you off that you didn't think of, or there's sometimes it's very random what will make an actor self-conscious or throw him off. And that's what you have to kind of. That's sort of as you do a lot more plays or film, you learn how to be flexible, and work with what you got. But it's always like the first day of school is tough. We had an interesting first day of school on Laggies because I had just come out of the hospital from getting either a spider bite or a tick bite from where I think I was doing a previous independent film with Marissa Tomei, and I think I got bit by
The Country.
in the country.
Yeah.
Yes, the country, and I got bit by a tick or a spider, and that was an interesting. I went to the ER. We had to skip rehearsal. I
Yeah,
was
he got
sick.
there early
I
in
got there
order
early
for
to
us
rehearse
to spend
and
time.
do wardrobe and all.
And he was in the hospital the whole time.
And I went to the hospital, and then I got out of the hospital, went straight to set, and shot a scene. So, and I met Kira that day, and she didn't know like if I was withdrawing from heroin or or I had some STD or something. Because she kind of hugged me like this, like, "Oh, are you? Is it okay to touch?" Like it was like that kind of like hug that Kira gave me, and I'm like, I got to do love scenes with her, and so I was like, "Oh, this is going off. This is a great start we got here." And so you never know what's going to be thrown at you, and yet, and thank God, Lynn was so great when I got on set, and it was a very relaxed environment. The crew's lovely, and so it was safe ground, because I was a little unstable those first couple of days 'cause I was on antibiotics, and I just come out of the hospital, so you never know.
Hi there. You mentioned that you felt blessed with the open-hearted actors that you've had. But are there things though that Sam's I guess mentioned a little bit what that first day of rehearsal was like that you now know as a director that you do to encourage that amongst your actors when you have an actor showing up on that day and in that kind of situation which is stressful and challenging? What have you learned over, I guess, the course of your, feature filmmaking that you say, okay, well, this is what I do as a director to encourage that, help the actors, and just a thought on that.
I find that giving as much time as possible for the actors to get to know each other a little bit and just get comfortable around each other is great. So the plan with Laggies, because everybody was so busy, was just to have them show up a little early. So Chloe and Kira came to set first, and I immediately took them out to dinner and just kind of and we just had this 3-hour, 4-hour dinner, and I sort of stayed out of it. I sort of facilitated a little bit, but I really was just for them to really get to sort of bond, hopefully, and they totally did, which was great. And that was the plan with Sam, but he was in the hospital, so so it didn't happen as much. But then it was. And you hung out a lot on set. It wasn't.
We had a moment in the backyard the first
Yeah.
day. The three of us. We were talking about vines, or what's that thing, Vine, or
Vine. Which at the time
Chloe was trying to teach us about vines.
new. Yeah. Exactly. And then previously, I've actually gotten on there'd be, if I had everybody attached months in advance, weeks in advance, I'd get everybody on the phone. So if we're all in different cities, for instance, I'll get on the phone with a couple of, like, Ellen Page and Josh Pais played daughter and father in Touchy Feely, so that we would talk about their back relationship, and just again trying to, and then like having a dinner. We were all in LA, and so I was able to, with that film, I was able to cook them all dinner and get them all together in the same room, and they were all surprised. They thought we were going to be doing work on the film, but really it was just to get them at ease with each other, and with me too, because there has to be so much trust on the set, and the people that I choose on set to work with in the crew, very, very important. I feel like everybody is. I just don't want any bad vibes. I don't want anybody freaking out or lashing out or yelling or anything like that. It needs to really be an emotionally safe playground.
Well, I have a question. Kira told me that you were the most relaxed filmmaker she's ever worked with, and that this film was made over the course of 25 days, something crazy?
Yeah.
How do you stay so relaxed in such a short time frame and not let it? I'm sure you're a little stressed out making a movie. How do you not let it show and let it affect your performance?
I am. I mean, it's an emotionally safe place for me too, because I'm surrounding myself with my friends. I mean, all my DP, Ben Kasulki, he's shot every film of mine since the beginning, and a lot of the same crew, they're like my people. They're my best friends, so that really helps a lot. And getting a really good first AD who's going to keep me chill, and then, realizing that it's not going to help anything to freak out. I mean, there's just no, it's not going to be productive or help the situation. So if you get down to it and you realize, okay, we've got to drop some shots, or we have to, you just got to do what you got to do. So yeah, I don't know. There's a kind of a laser focus that happens, especially when we're up against it. Yeah.
And Sam, what's the biggest freak out you've ever witnessed as a
freak
as
out?
an actor?
I don't know.
That's an exclusive.
Well, you'd have to be a real dick to freak out on one of Lynn's sets, because they are so relaxed, I gotta have to think about that question. Of course, who do I name? I can't think of anything offhand, to be honest. But I will say, in listening to Lynn, it's not to be overly positive or anything, but I think of her and Jon Favreau and Clark Gregg, Tony Goldwyn, David Gordon Green, George Clooney, who are among these people who, whether they're actors or not, it's very important. It's nice when you have somebody like Lynn, who is for lack of a better term, people person, who has a good bedside manner and is not, you can actually, it's good to have social skills as a director, and those people I mentioned are among those people, and, they're nice people, and some directors aren't, and so they don't create a relaxed. So, for example, you were saying, what is anything different, whether it's like an Iron Man, big movie, I was very relaxed because John creates the same atmosphere that Lynn Shelton does. There's a very relaxed, we're just doing work here. We're not, it's not brain surgery. We're just having a good time. We're doing some work, and that's an important vibe.
It's nice to know that you can have that on a big studio movie like that. It's very
Yeah,
inspiring.
I think if you have the right leader, it's all about the director, It's always about the director.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks.